guys, I am super excited to introduce you today to Mel of Mel's Kitchen Cafe. If you saw my video last week about cooking with kids that appeared on her website, melskitchencafe.com, then you are already familiar with her. But today you're going to get to know her better. I Skyped with her and we had a chance to talk about family and food and life and had a ball. So you're going to want to stick around and get to know the woman behind the blog. Mel is a mom of 5 kids who is talented, funny, creative, hardworking, a whiz in the kitchen, and a generally awesome human being. So I hope you enjoy getting to know her better and come away with a few more tips in the kitchen. So here's Mel. Mel, thank you so much for talking to us. Here's my question for you. When did you realize you were an awesome cook?
Oh, that's a funny question because I don't really feel like I'm that awesome of a cook. I mean, I know that when I look back at the last 13 years of marriage, cooking has evolved for me. It started out as function. Brian and I were both working full time. We had a couple kids. I was still working full time. It was just function. So the stuff I made was pretty horrid because it was just a means to an end. It was feed these faces and be done. And then all of a sudden I decided I liked it. I wanted to learn more about it. So it's just kind of evolved. Now I feel like I am just more adventurous in the kitchen. I don't know that I'm necessarily this really awesome cook, but I feel more adventurous than I used to be when it was I don't think I can do any more than tater tot casserole. That might be my limit. You know what I mean? Now
yes,
it's let's branch out a little and be adventurous. So more confidence. I think I've gotten more confidence. But
So how did you learn to cook? Did you cook as a kid?
Yeah, my mom always made dinner. Pretty basic dinners. But I grew up making cookies and stuff like that. I think I always liked to do it, but in high school and college, who has a kitchen? I don't know. In college, I had a pot and a spoon.
In college, I lived next to Del Taco, and it cost less to get a chicken burrito for dinner than it did to go shop for ingredients and make it. So.
Seriously, and college was just not my. I was busy with school, and when I reached that phase of life when I was home with my kids, and I wanted just something a little bit more, I guess. To challenge. I don't know if other moms feel that way, but something that just, outside of maybe, I was in my phase of lots of little kids, so I wasn't able to carry on full conversations with them yet. It was changing diapers and, doing everything for them. I think that's when I think it was subconscious. I actually cannot even remember a time where I was oh, I'm going to hone my cooking skills. You know what I mean? It just was
kind of. How did you come to blog about it?
I was living away from family. I've never really lived close to my sisters and my mom. And so I remember one day just saying, blogs were such a new thing. This was 8 years ago. That's such a dated thing when you think of 8 years. Oh my gosh, 8 years ago, blogs were just, what is a blog? You'd say the word blog and people would be that is strange. I've heard of this thing called a blog. I'll just set it up. And that way when I say to my sisters, hey, I made this really great recipe, just go on to this blog and check it out. So I literally set it up as share my favorite recipes. And it started out really innocently, and now here we are.
It has evolved quite a bit.
It has evolved quite a bit. It's been really fun. I have to be honest. I had 0 expectations for this blog. I really thought maybe my sister and I would post to it. And now looking at how it's evolved into a community, and I don't know. It's a strange thing sometimes. I have to be honest. So I love that.
Laugh. I'm thinking about when the kids grow up and they go off to college, and sometimes moms will be well, here's some recipes. It's or I could just look at my mom's super famous blog, just right. Whatever she's got going on.
Yeah, except the funny thing is my kids are seriously when my husband and I will talk about her, he likes to read sometimes through the comments. They make him laugh, especially the ones that are kind of mean. And so we'll be talking about it, and my kids will be what do you do, Mom? What is this? They really don't even have any concept of this part of my life that's so big. They know they have to wait for 20 minutes for dinner while I take pictures and things like that. But as far as I don't know that they really understand.
This is just dinner.
This is dinner. Yeah.
Well, the cooking with kids part is so funny because our oldest, who is 10, he came out just with the most adventurous spirit. He has always eaten every single thing I've ever put in front of him.
Which is awesome.
And I tooted my own horn and patted my own back see, I don't know what this deal with picky kids is.
Right,
because
right.
when he was like 5, we'd go to a restaurant and be like, I'll have the salmon. And you're like,
who says that? What 5-year-old
like,
says
Can we
that?
have Indian food? And I was just like, see what we've done here. So proud. And then my twins came, and Lincoln.
Totally different story.
Oh my gosh. Like, he was frightened of food. I would say the word dinner, tears.
Really?
Like, I'm making dinner, and he'd be like, not dinner. Like, it was that. And it was like, I don't understand how I've made these two people so different. So whereas I originally thought I was just so on top of that.
Like this awesome mom, of course. Yeah.
It has been a challenge to find things.
Has he grown out of it as he's gotten older?
He's gotten better and better and better and better. I mean, there was like a solid year where he just ate peanut butter. And, but he eats all kinds of things now. And hilariously, the thing that I made a while ago so I have 6 kids, and to have a home run where everyone eats it happily and is excited about it, there's like a handful of things.
Exactly. Yeah, I hear you.
But if I can get like 4 out of 6 or even 3 out of, I mean, if I'm batting 50%, I'm still like, I can
That's a success.
Win.
Totally.
And it was tilapia. I made tilapia, and they're all like, this is the best ever. I'm like, I could never have
so
seen
at that point,
coming.
you have to really pat yourself on the back and say, you're doing something right.
Well, I don't even know, because the kid won't eat like mac and cheese or potatoes or rice or noodles or like any normal like kid food.
Yeah.
And so it just cracked me up that all my kids were like, tilapia's the best. And I was like, I don't even understand what's happening right now, but okay.
That is hilarious.
So,
right.
What do you make that your kids are like, no, not that?
Yeah, there are a couple things. You know how each kid is different. I have really good eaters, but it's been a process, like a super huge process. Like you said, there have been phases when literally they will not eat anything but like a slice of bread with butter. And I'm kind of on the strict end of when they get old enough and they can be, rationalized with, it's like you eat dinner, you don't eat, take a few bites, whatever. So then they're really hungry for breakfast the next morning. But I honestly, my kids will eat anything. They just love things more than others. I'm trying to think, the other night I served something and it did not go over well. Oh, eggplant.
Ah, yes.
Not a hit with the family. Yeah, that was definitely one of those, like, there was some gagging going on at the table. I wish I'm like you. Not when we sit down to dinner, it's not like, high fives and hip hip hoorays all across the board. So I have some kids that are like, this is awesome, and other kids that are kind of choking it down. And when I find those meals that like hit it with everyone, I'm like taking notes. And
what is a big winner in your house?
Because I wish I could sound like, oh, we eat sushi, and it it goes over so well. But there's this recipe on my site for like creamy Alfredo sauce from scratch. It's super easy. It's like cream cheese and milk. I don't know if you've made it.
I know it, Mel. I know it.
And I know if I make that, and it's the simplest meal. I try to like amp it up sometimes with like grilled chicken or steamed broccoli, but quite honestly, there are some nights that it's like noodles with Alfredo sauce. And when I do, my kids are doing cartwheels, and those nights when I can't do anymore. That's all we're doing is noodles with Alfredo sauce.
Well,
so
that's impressive in and of itself. Yeah. So when you're cooking with your kids, do you just have straight up assignments? Do you rotate it, or is it just like, hey, you're nearby, you do that?
Exactly. We're totally fly by the seat of our pants. Like, chopping things, total hit. But my kids really love to stir stuff up. Almost like a science experiment. They love to be the one adding the soy sauce in with the marinade ingredients and kind of whipping that up. Give me your insight into this. There's a lot of people that are so concerned with like age appropriate things. My feeling is I don't know. I just say to my kids, do this, and people are really concerned about actually cooking like at the stove with kids. So I'm wondering if there's like, I don't know, like safety, like how you go about having your kids in the kitchen and still like make sure they're not getting burned, or like, do you let your kids, because they were cooking eggs
they do eggs. Stove. Yeah. I don't know. I've actually looked up some stuff of like age appropriate cooking, and I feel like not just the cooking, but every age appropriate list I've ever seen is really dumbed down. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
I'm like,
absolutely. I agree with you.
My kid who's half that age can do that, and not because my kids are advanced.
I feel like if you follow that too strictly, you're not giving your kids a chance.
Yeah.
I am amazed at what my kids can do.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, they spill, and it's not always like pretty. But the thing with cooking at the stove with my kids that I've learned, we do the same. They stand on a taller stool. I make sure if they have like a shirt on or their apron that it's pulled tight so it's not going to get on the burner. But I tell them all the time, I want you to learn the safety part of this. Like, I want you to learn not to get too close to the flame or lean forward too much or whatever it is. And so in some ways, I think I want to give them those opportunities to do it simply as a way of teaching them that you have to be careful. You could get burned. Even with the oven, it took them so long to want to pull things in and out of the oven because they were afraid that they were going to get burned. And I've said to them, you might. I mean, I don't want to say you'll never, you'll never cut your finger, you'll never get burned.
I've actually said, you will. You will get burned. And you will cut yourself at some point, but you'll learn from it.
So I think with cooking with kids, and this is maybe just because I'm kind of a, I don't know, stricter mom, I'm on a mission now to make sure they clean up too. I mean, if we're talking life skills here, I think cooking's important. I also think cleaning up after yourself, but that's the boring part. That's the non-fun part. But yeah.
So what are you making for dinner tonight?
Tonight is a really special dinner. It's called Clean Out the Fridge because we're leaving for a family reunion tomorrow dinner. So
we call that the Hunter's Special. If you can find it, you can eat it.
So I actually detest leftover night. It's like my least favorite. I like to eat food and I'll heat it up for lunch, but like having it like the third night in the row, it's just not exciting,
No.
And call me crazy, but I like to look forward to what I'm going to eat for dinner. I usually eye my husband and I'm like, do you want to go pick up some sushi? Like, what do you want to do? While the kids fight over the pancakes, can we like go get something else?
Oh yeah, we have if we were to have a family crest, like the motto would be like, we want to know where our next meal's coming from. When we travel, it's like I start to be like, okay, where's our next meal coming from? Let's like get to the meal portion of things and then plan backwards because I need to know where the next one's coming from.
That sums up my life right now. I never would have been able to put that into words. That totally sums it up.
Yeah. Yes. So like about the time I'm cleaning up breakfast, it's like,
so what do we think about
lunch? Not because I'm necessarily hungry, but just because I need to know.
We better plan ahead.
But when it comes to food,
yeah,
it just falls on you to deal with then if it's not planned. So.
It's true. And there are some I would say there's like 5 or 6 things that are delicious that you can throw together in like 10 or 15 minutes. But generally speaking, like if you really love food and you really want something, you got to plan for it a little bit. I think it takes a little bit of forethought of, I at least need to thaw the chicken. You know that you fed me like one of the most delicious meals of my life when I came to your house that day.
And somebody asked me what it was, and I was like, I think it was soup, and I'm pretty sure there was a panini involved, but I don't remember what was in it.
It was a caprese. It was like a caprese panini with like this balsamic mayonnaise something on the bread.
Yes, that was good.
And then like I think it was the zuppa Toscana or something.
Yeah, the
soup
sausage
like that.
and kale situation. Yes.
And potatoes. I like still dream of it. So when I posted last week about your videos and then in the comments, it was hilarious to see how many people were like, and what did she make you? Like, I'm on the edge of my seat. Like, what did she make you? It was so delicious.
I remember you've asked me for this recipe before, and the problem is I am not a recipe person. I take your recipe. I can follow a recipe of someone else's, but like when I invent something,
that's why you're a crazy good cook, because you can clearly just like throw. You are. I mean, you're amazing, but it takes talent to do that because throwing stuff together and having it turn out amazing is like that's a dream.
Oh, well,
that's
awesome.
Awesome.
Very kind of you to say. I just need to pay attention to what I'm doing so I can actually measure it and then say, here's how you can do this too. So I'm going to work on that. That's going to be my task.
Yes,
I'm going to make
you should do that. It will benefit me if you do that. And one other side note, which I know is not related. When I was at your house that day, I remember like watching you in the kitchen. You were like pulling like salt out of this little bamboo container. So of course I had too much pride to be like, Serena, like, what is that? And what are you using? And because, like, I totally have one, but I just want to know what, like, your brand, So then, of course, I, like, run home to Wisconsin, to Green Bay, and I'm, like, on the internet, like, searching, like, what is that thing? So I bought one immediately that very day that I got home. I've used this same one for years, and I kid you not, it sits right by my stove. I think of you every time, and every night. I mean, I'm pinching kosher salt out of there and putting it in. I think of you every time because that totally inspired me to do that. And I just remember thinking, that is the sign of like a really gourmet cook. Like, you just pinch salt out of this thing, and it looked so pretty. And I just remember, you have always inspired me that way, always. So just so you know.
Oh my gosh, I am beyond flattered right now. I have no idea. Thank you.
Yes, it was just, and it was such a funny thing. I just remember thinking, oh, I want to be like her. I want to be like her when I grow up. So
the feeling is so mutual, and that's why it's hilarious. But what we have coming up, you and I have worked on, is planning a sort of video extravaganza. I don't know how are we describing that.
That sounds exciting. I wanna watch that.
It sounds like a monster truck mash, but really it's just dinner.
Right.
Dinner. And so you have this amazing recipe on your site for French bread that you can use for rolls. We love it with the spiral rolls. And so we've talked about taking that recipe and doing a couple different things with it, and we're going to show everyone what our kids come up with.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I think it's a great idea because there's a million things you can do with that recipe. Yeah. And generally, whenever I'm making that recipe, my kids are the ones wanting to get their hands on the dough and help out with it. So, well,
I have to give you all the credit because you are the reason I learned how to make yeast breads. And I was always super intimidated by them, and now I love that. And once you get the hang of it and you really understand like the texture you're looking for, and it's fantastic. And so
it is fantastic.
My kids eat stuff.
Oh, you're welcome. So. You know, don't you feel like with yeast bread, it's like it's such a level of satisfaction of just knowing you've created like bread. I don't know. It's different than just like making spaghetti. It's like, it's bread. It's wholesome. This is what the pioneers did. Like, I'm making bread. Plus, I kind of feel like once you start and you get the hang of it, it's not hard. It's just, you have to get over the hurdle of being scared by it.
Yes. Well, the first hurdle was being scared of it. And then I remember trying to make several things, and I would always say to you, Mel, it's flat, it didn't work. And you'd always be like, well, maybe you need more. And you'd like kind of give me, and then we discovered my yeast was dead.
Yes, I think so.
It's not going to rise no matter what you do to it. So I bought new yeast, and now I make
buy more yeast,
Yes, so now I keep it in my freezer, and all is well. Yes. So we will reconvene this next time when our kids have made some stuff and show people what they did.
That'll be fun.
Exciting. So thank you so much for talking with me today, and I look forward to next time.
Fun. And I wish we were next door neighbors. I really do.
Skype is the next best thing. So thank you, Mel, and
thanks, Raina.
We will see you next time.
Sounds good.